Introducing the new H-Factor milking claw from BECO Dairy Automation. H-Factor stands for high capacity and a whole lot more.
BECO has been a leader in automated milking systems since 1958. They have pioneered many of the innovations found on modern dairies around the world today.
Their latest invention is the new H-Factor milking claw that incorporates a larger milk outlet to eliminate vacuum restrictions that allows cows to milk faster and set optimum conditions for maintaining udder health.
Let's face the facts. Today's cows are producing more and have higher flow rates than ever before.
Yet most milking claws being used today still have a small 5/8 inch outlet.
To allow today's cows to effectively produce all they are capable of,
vacuum restrictions must be eliminated. And that is exactly why the BECO H-Factor milking claw has a larger outlet. The BECO H-Factor milking claw is designed with a patented 7/8 inch outlet that by design can accept either a 3/4 inch or 7/8 inch milk hose to create more capacity to move milk from the cow to the milk line without flooding.
This increased capacity will result in greater vacuum stability, a faster and more complete milk out, and set optimum conditions for maintaining udder health. The problem with vacuum is that it is not something that can be easily seen,
and most dairymen don't even know if their claw vacuum is stable or not. Unstable milking vacuum is caused by today's higher flow rates that flood the small 5/8 inch milking claw and milk hoses. There simply is not enough room to move the milk and still allow space for vacuum to remain stable in the claw. 5/8 inch outlet milking claws have been around for more than 30 years and are still being sold by most milking machine companies.
That doesn't seem rational when you consider that 5/8 inch outlet claws were introduced in the late 1970s, when production levels reached around 50 pounds of milk per cow per day.
Today's cows are averaging around 80 pounds of milk per cow per day, with many cows producing much more than that.
One has to ask the question,
why are so many dairymen still milking with an obsolete 5/8 inch outlet claw with today's production levels? In case you don't know what size of an outlet that you have on your claws, consider this fact. No matter what brand of milking claw that you milk with today, and regardless when you bought them, there is a 90% chance that they have a 5/8 inch outlet. If you are one of the 90% of these dairies and want to know if your system is flooding, the best way to tell is to simply watch your milk hoses as your cows are milking. You will probably notice that with low-producing cows, your hoses will bounce some, while with high-producing cows, they will bounce a whole lot more. Whenever you see your milk hoses bounce, it is your indication that your milking system is flooding and vacuum has become very unstable. When this happens, milking slows down due to the drop in vacuum, liner performance is greatly compromised, and cross-contamination becomes a risk. To prevent this from happening, you must remove the flow restrictions caused by too small of a claw and hose. The BECO H-Factor claw, with its larger outlet, was designed for just that purpose. Another way to see unstable vacuum is by using a vacuum gauge or vacuum graph machine. The vacuum graph shown here is an illustration of exactly what is going on with vacuum inside the claw when at the same time you see your hoses bounce. When milk floods the system, it isolates the source of vacuum coming from your milk line. This then causes a vacuum differential that eventually causes the milk to slug out of the hoses, causing them to bounce. At the same time, vacuum drops as illustrated on the graph.
I guess the thing I was the most interested in was the milk flow and trying to increase the milk flow during the peak letdown times. Sometimes I seen in our old system we had some 5/8 inch hoses and stuff, and it seemed like some of the claws were getting flooded a little bit, and we were having a lot of teat end problems, and some of that I kind of contributed to unstable teat end vacuum, and that's kind of the number one reason I was looking at it.
Okay.
Semitic cells dropped. We've probably dropped about 100,000 from where we were back in '09. Production's probably up 8 to 10 pounds since '09.
Claws sit on the udder well, and they're easy to handle. If I were to build a parlor, I'd go straight to BECO.
But we could tell right in the very first milking, you could tell that that milk is getting out of there a lot quicker. And I didn't see any real big. I mean, there was, yeah, it's a little bit, maybe a little stiffer,
Right.
you know, to start out with. But once you got your right lengths and everything is correct, it's very little difference.
Yep.
Dairymen have known for years that stable vacuum is important. They just didn't know that it is something that they didn't have. Many dairymen tell us that they do see their milk hoses bounce, but didn't make the connection that bouncing hoses means unstable vacuum. If you want to know what your cows already know, just watch your milk hoses. Correct the problem with the BECO H-Factor milking claw, and you will be unleashing your cows to produce all they are genetically capable of, and you will be setting optimum conditions for maintaining udder health. The BECO H-Factor claw is adaptable to most existing milking systems, as long as you are milking in a parlor with a low line. Generally speaking, a claw and milk hose is all it takes to begin the journey of eliminating vacuum restrictions and unleashing your cow's potential to achieve higher levels of performance. Why not try it on your dairy today?